On the night of November 29, 1981, Hollywood lost one of its brightest stars. Natalie Wood, the glamorous actress known for Rebel Without a Cause, West Side Story, and Splendor in the Grass, was found dead in the waters off California's Catalina Island. She was only 43 years old. The official cause of death was listed as accidental drowning. But almost immediately, questions swirled. The circumstances didn't add up. The people closest to her gave conflicting stories. Rumors of arguments, jealousy, and hidden truths began to spread. For decades later, Natalie Wood's death remains one of Hollywood's most enduring unsolved mysteries. Was it a tragic accident, or was there something darker lurking beneath the waves that night? Born Natalia Nikolaevna Zakharenko in San Francisco in 1938, Natalie was the daughter of Russian immigrants. Her parents dreamed of a better life, and by the time she was 5 years old, Natalie was already appearing in films. Her wide eyes, delicate features, and natural talent made her a child star almost instantly. By her teenage years, she had already starred alongside James Dean in Rebel Without a Cause, a performance that earned her an Academy Award nomination. The film cemented her as one of the faces of the 1950s youth revolution. Unlike many child stars who faded away, Natalie transitioned seamlessly into adult roles. In the 1960s, she starred in West Side Story, Splendor in the Grass, and Gypsy. She was considered one of the most bankable actresses of her generation, balancing glamour with vulnerability in a way few others could. But behind the red carpets and flashing cameras, Natalie's personal life was complicated. Her love story with actor Robert Wagner, known as RJ, was a Hollywood fairy tale, at least on the surface. Natalie first married Robert Wagner in 1957, when she was only 19 and he was 27. The press adored them. They were the golden couple of the era, beautiful, rich, and seemingly perfect. But the marriage was rocky. Rumors of infidelity and fights followed them. They divorced in 1962, only to remarry 10 years later in 1972. By the late 1970s, Natalie was focused on her family, raising her daughters Natasha and Courtney. But tensions in her marriage with Wagner reportedly never fully disappeared. Friends later described their relationship as loving but volatile. This complicated love story set the stage for the events of that fateful weekend in 1981. Over Thanksgiving weekend in 1981, Natalie and Wagner invited actor Christopher Walken, her co-star in the film Brainstorm, to join them aboard their yacht, the Splendor. Also on board was the ship's captain, Dennis Davern. The yacht anchored near Catalina Island. The group dined, drank, and socialized, but beneath the surface, tensions bubbled. Walken and Natalie were close, some speculated too close. Rumors suggested Wagner was jealous of their relationship. On the evening of November 28th, the group had dinner at a local restaurant. The staff later reported that they drank heavily, though accounts vary on just how intoxicated they were. Back on the yacht, things turned darker. According to Captain Davern, Wagner and Walken got into a heated argument. Wagner reportedly accused Walken of wanting to sleep with Natalie. Voices were raised. Natalie, uncomfortable, supposedly stormed off. What happened next remains the core of the mystery. At some point that night, Natalie was gone. Wagner later claimed that he assumed she had gone to bed. But when he checked their cabin, she wasn't there. A search of the yacht revealed the dinghy, a small inflatable boat, was also missing. Hours later, around 7:30 a.m., a body was discovered floating in the water. It was Natalie Wood. She was wearing a flannel nightgown, red down jacket, and socks. The dinghy was found washed ash. The coroner ruled her death an accidental drowning, with hypothermia as a contributing factor. The explanation was that Natalie had tried to secure the dinghy, slipped, and fallen into the water. From the start, the official version of events seemed suspicious. Why would Natalie, who had a lifelong fear of dark water, leave the yacht alone in the middle of the night? Why was she dressed in a nightgown and jacket rather than proper clothing for a late-night dinghy ride? Most disturbingly, why did no one hear her cries for help? The shoreline was close, and witnesses reported hearing a woman's screams around the time of her disappearance. Then came the bruises. The autopsy revealed fresh bruises on Natalie's arms, legs, and face. The coroner initially dismissed them as injuries from the fall into the water, but skeptics wondered if they told a different story. For years, the case remained officially closed. But in 2011, Captain Dennis Davern went public with a shocking claim. He said that Robert Wagner had been furious that night, jealous over Joaquin and Natalie's closeness. Davern alleged that an explosive argument broke out on the deck of the yacht, and that he believed Wagner was directly responsible for Natalie's death. Davern also admitted that he hadn't told the full truth to investigators at the time. He said Wagner pressured him to stay quiet, and that he was afraid of going against one of Hollywood's most powerful stars. This revelation reignited the case, turning what had long been considered a tragic accident into a potential homicide investigation. With Davern's confession, suspicion shifted squarely onto Robert Wagner. He has always maintained his innocence, insisting Natalie's death was a horrible accident. But his story has changed over the years. In one version, he claimed he last saw Natalie in their cabin. In another, he suggested she had gone to calm the dinghy, which was banging against the yacht. Critics argue that Wagner has never given a consistent explanation. The Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department reopened the case in 2011. In 2018, Wagner was officially named a person of interest. Investigators cited inconsistencies in his account and the testimony of new witnesses who recalled hearing a woman screaming for help. Still, no charges have ever been filed. One of the most enigmatic figures in the story is Christopher Walken. He was present that night, yet has said very little publicly. In one rare interview, Walken suggested that Natalie may have gone out to retie the dinghy and slipped. But beyond that, he has remained tight-lipped. Some believe Walken knows more than he's revealed. Others think he has stayed silent simply to avoid being dragged into a scandal that was never truly his. Whatever the case, his silence has only fueled speculation. Natalie Wood's death dominated headlines. Fans mourned the loss of an actress who had grown up before their eyes, from child star to Hollywood icon. But the circumstances of her death also fueled endless gossip. Tabloids speculated about affairs, jealousy, and cover-ups. Talk shows debated whether Wagner had gotten away with murder. True crime enthusiasts dissected every inconsistency in the timeline. Over time, Natalie's story became less about her life and career and more about the unanswered questions surrounding her death. In 2012, the Los Angeles County coroner amended Natalie's death certificate. The cause of death was changed from accidental drowning to drowning and other undetermined factors. The revised report highlighted the bruises on her body, which were consistent with someone being assaulted. The report did not conclude definitively that foul play was involved, but it reopened the door to darker possibilities. This was a rare move, and it showed that even decades later, the authorities weren't satisfied with the original ruling. Some see Natalie's death as part of a strange pattern of Hollywood tragedies. Her co-star James Dean died young in a car crash. Marilyn Monroe's death, also shrouded in mystery, was just 2 decades earlier. And Natalie herself had once confessed to a psychic fear of dark water, predicting it would be her end. It's easy to see why some believe her death was more than just a coincidence. Amid the mystery, it's important not to forget who Natalie was. She wasn't just a tragic figure. She was a trailblazing actress who helped redefine what it meant to be a Hollywood star. She transitioned from child stardom to serious adult roles with grace. She won 3 Academy Award nominations before the age of 25. Her performances were raw, emotional, and ahead of their time. She captured the complexities of young love, heartbreak, and ambition in ways that still resonate. For her daughters, Natasha and Courtney, her death was more than a headline. It was a personal tragedy that shaped their lives. Both have spoken out in documentaries, calling for the truth to be revealed. So, who really killed Natalie Wood? Was it truly an accident, the tragic result of too much alcohol, a dark night, and a moment of carelessness? Or was it the culmination of jealousy, rage, and conflict aboard the yacht? The truth may never be fully known. Too much time has passed, too many witnesses are gone, and the accounts of those who remain are tangled in contradictions. But one thing is certain, Natalie Wood's story is far from over. Every time her films are watched, every time her life is celebrated, the questions return. And perhaps that is the final haunting legacy of her death. an unsolved mystery that refuses to sink beneath the waves.